Hey guys, Aaron CybertronVGC here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online regulation H VGC ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. In this video, I'll be featuring one of the craziest teams I've tried so far in Regulation H. This team was one win away from making it to Day 2 of the Lille Regional Championships, and it's got a ton of really low usage Pokemon like Avalugg, Krookodile, as well as Tentacruel. Those Pokemon in particular can match up really well into common Pokemon in the format. Avalugg, for example, really good into all the physical attackers that you have like Dragonite, Garchomp, as well as Rillaboom. Krookodile really valuable into things like Gholdengo as well as Incineroar, and Tentacruel matches up really well into things like Sneasler. This team is just nuts, and it's so exciting because it's just so different from anything else that we've seen in this format, so I just can't wait to feature it. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down below, and thanks so much as always for joining me. If you enjoy, I'd really appreciate it if you consider leaving a like in the video or subscribing to the channel. It really helps out a ton. Anyway, let's get started. If you're interested in trying out the team, the rental code is on the screen, and there's also an accompanying PokePaste down in the description below. This team utilizes a lot of unique attackers. You've got the Tentacruel, the Krookodile, as well as the Avalugg, and those all have really solid offensive matchups into a lot of common Pokemon in this format. Ninetales is really nice when paired with Avalugg because you can set up the snow, increasing Avalugg's already massive defense. You also have Citrus Berry Archaudon on this team, which can soak up damage and can also protect. Instead of having Assault Vest, you have the flexibility of being able to protect, which is really nice. And then you've got a Scrappy Flamigo with Tailwind to round things out. The Flamigo is really nice to enable Tailwind for this team. The Pokemon on this team, for the most part, are decently fast, but under Tailwind, you'll be able to outpace the super fast Pokemon that you commonly run into, like Dragapult, for example. Just keep in mind that Avalugg's really slow, so even when Tailwind is set up, you'll still be getting outpaced by a lot of common Pokemon in this format. But overall, you want to catch your opponents off guard, you want to disrupt with that wide guard from Avalugg, and just threaten with super effective damage onto common threats as much as possible. Breaking down each individual Pokemon, the first one to highlight is Avalugg. Avalugg is such a fascinating Pokemon. It's got an incredible base defense stat and solid base attack and HP, but really low base special defense and base speed. Loaded Dice plus Icicle Spear is a really fun combination. We've seen Loaded Dice pick up in usage in this format on things like Dragonite as well as Baxcalibur, and the idea behind it, of course, is that you are able to guarantee at least 4 hits from your multi-hit attacks, and multi-hit attacks are really valuable in a format where Focus Sash is common, especially on something like Sneasler. Loaded Dice Icicle Spear is also valuable into Dragonite, for example, with Multi-Skill, which is fairly common right now, and so this is a really fun combination. You also have Fighting Terra Body Press, which just does so much damage. I would never know my body press calcs if Avalugg were attacking me with Fighting Terra added on top, just because this Pokemon is so rare, so few people are using it. And Wide Guard is really valuable for support on this team because there's so many spread moves that threaten you, like Gholdengo's Make It Rain or Hisuian Typhlosion's Eruption, for example. You might be curious as to why it's running Sturdy, and the reason is because Avalugg, even though its defense is so sky high, its special defense is so low, right? So there are a lot of special moves that can just get a one-hit knockout onto Avalugg. Having that Sturdy allows you to potentially get multiple hits off, and that's really valuable. The Avalugg is really nicely paired with the Alolan Ninetales, which is Choice Specs, and of course sets up the snow so that Avalugg can further increase its defense, which is awesome. You've got Blizzard, Moonblast, Dark Pulse, and Freeze Dry. So Dark Pulse is the main thing to call out here, as it allows you to hit things like Gholdengo for super effective damage, which is nice, because otherwise Gholdengo would completely wall Ninetales and Avalugg, and that feels pretty bad. Timid max speed here. You've got Ghost Terror on the Ninetales as well. Ghost Terror is nice because it allows you to just avoid something like Fake Out, for example, and you've got Tentacruel with Covert Cloak on this team as well, so you can lead Tentacruel plus Ninetales, and if your opponent leads a Fake Out user, Ghost Terror immediately, and you can just completely ignore it on turn 1. This is also valuable into making the close combat from something like Sneasler just be completely useless. Close combat obviously quite good into things like Archaudon, Avalugg, and Krookodile, and so has some additional coverage on top of that. But generally, when I'm bringing out Ninetales, I want to click Blizzard, I think, very frequently with it. You also have Tentacruel on this team. This Tentacruel is really funny. Like, it feels very much just like an anti-Sneasler Pokemon, and Sneasler is one of the most common Pokemon in the format right now. For many tournaments, it's actually been #1 in usage as well. And so with Covert Cloak, you are able to avoid Fake Out Flinch. You're also able to avoid status conditions from Dire Claw, and Tentacruel resists both close combat as well as Dire Claw, which is really nice, right? So you can soak up damage from Sneasler and also threaten with a lot of damage. The main thing to note here is that Tentacruel's base special attack stat is not amazing. It's only base 80, so you should not expect to get one-hit knockouts with this Pokemon generally, but that's okay. It can definitely soak up some hits as well, especially with the solid base special defense stat of 120, and fighting, or I should say poison plus water coverage as well as ground coverage is really nice in general into so many different Pokemon in this format. I was thinking of fighting from Avalugg as Flamigo as well. We do have good fighting coverage on this team. Krookodile is the next Pokemon I want to talk about, and this is a really interesting one. Krookodile is actually a World Champion and won the World Championships in 2017 on Ryota Otsubo's team, but generally has not been the most common pick otherwise. However, it is really interesting because first of all, it gets access to Intimidate, and you also deal really good damage with high horsepower and knockoff into a lot of common threats in this format, right? Think about something like Golden Go, for example, being able to threaten it with both of those moves is really nice. Scale Shot, I think, is a really fun tech move on the Krookodile. You can use it to hit Pokemon for super effective damage, and you can also use it to increase your speed. Krookodile is already pretty speedy, so after a Scale Shot, it will be outpacing pretty much everything in the format that doesn't have like a Choice Scarf or Tailwind support, or, you know, boosted up their own speed, and so that is really cool. I think this is a move that I probably click the least with Krookodile, but if you position it properly, it can be absolutely awesome, and getting a speed boost means then like your opponent won't be, you know, very well prepared for a +1 speed Krookodile often. Clear Amulet's also really nice just to ignore stat drops, especially Intimidate from opposing Incineroars. To round out the team, you've got Archaludon and Flamigo. Archaludon's really interesting on this team because it's Citrus Berry rather than something like Assault Vest or the Power Herb Electro Shot set, and you'd still have Electro Shot on this team. The idea is that Archaludon really wants to come out in the rain matchup. If your opponent has Pelipper in Team Preview, you're probably thinking about bringing Archaludon. It's really good into the common rain compositions that have Pokemon like Pelipper, as well as Amoonguss, Basculegion. So Archaludon can come in, soak up a lot of damage, and of course boost its special attack via Electro Shot while also threatening Water-type Pokemon for super effective damage. You can also go for self-targeting here, self-Icicle Spear into Archaludon, or self-Scale Shot to boost stamina a couple times, which I think is really cool as well. I generally haven't gone for that very much with this team because, for example, Avalugg is slower than Archaludon, and so you would not be able to like capitalize and go for a body press immediately afterwards on the same turn. You kind of have to wait until the next turn to go for that body press after getting the defense stacks, but still something to consider. Finally, you've got Flamigo, which I think really rounds out this team. Flamigo with Scrappy was a meta innovation that we saw after the first regionals in this format in Baltimore, and I think it's still really solid, and I love it on this team because the Tailwind support is so useful. You have so many Pokemon that are in the decent speed tier range, between 85, for example, on Archaludon, base 100, Tentacruel, base 92 on Krookodile, but there's still a lot of things that outspeed these Pokemon, so when you set up a Tailwind, you just then can threaten to outpace everything, and that's really nice. Close Combat Brave Bird continues to give really good coverage. Some people have actually been using Dual Wing Beat and Stellar Terra recently on Flamigo to really threaten Sneasler, for example, but Ghost, I find that is really valuable because once again, it allows you to get around Fake Out on turn 1, and I like that when paired with Tentacruel as well. So yeah. In terms of different modes that you can go with the team, I think I often first ask myself, okay, do I want to set up Tailwind? If the answer is yes, I normally like leading Flamigo and any combination next to it. Flamigo and Tentacruel is fun because you just pressure with some offense with this immediately, and you can avoid Fake Out, which is nice. Flamigo Avalugg is cool because you've got Sturdy and Focus Sash, so it's really difficult to actually knock these out, immediately, especially with Wide Guard. Just keep in mind that if you set up Tailwind, you have Avalugg out on the field, like this Pokemon doesn't capitalize off Tailwind as much often as the rest of the team, but that's one possible lead. Flamigo Krookodile is one of my favorite because you Intimidate to drop your opponent's stats while also pressuring with the Tailwind. And I think if you wanted to not lead Flamigo, like Ninetales Avalugg, especially if your opponent doesn't have weather, you set up the snow, Avalugg just becomes bulky really quickly. Krookodile plus Ninetales, Tentacruel plus Ninetales. Really, you can go with any combination on this team, so it's very much based on asking yourself, okay, like, does Avalugg threaten with damage? Do they have a lot of spread moves? Do I need Tailwind? If the answer is yes, you probably want to consider bringing Avalugg and Flamigo a little bit more. Otherwise, I often look for ways to just deal super effective damage with the team and prioritize that in the leads. In terms of weaknesses, the first thing that I want to call out is that you're using a lot of Pokemon that just don't have the best offensive base stats. Base 81 on Alola Ninetales, base 80 on Tentacruel. So you should not expect to get huge one-hit knockouts with this team unless you're using something that's 4x super effective. And that is a really big deal because I've lost a fair bit of games where I thought I was going to get a knockout on something that survives just with a sliver of HP and then I get KO'd in return. You don't have a lot of bulk on a lot of these Pokemon, right? Archaludon and Avalugg are bulky, but Flamigo, Tentacruel, Krookodile, Alola Ninetales, like, barely have any bulk invested between the 4 of them, so that's something that you have to watch out for. Alola Ninetales really doesn't like going up against opposing weather, doesn't like going up against Wide Guard as well, because you normally want to click that Blizzard, and I think it is a Pokemon that is going to be weak to things like Steel and Fire type Terras, as well as Steel and Fire type Pokemon, for example. Hilariously enough, I actually think opposing Alolan Ninetales is also scary for this team because Fairy coverage is really good against everything. Let's not name Tentacruel. So if you see your opponent have a Fairy type Pokemon with good offense, you'll want to consider bringing this so you can pressure with Sludge Bomb, because otherwise it can kind of just walk through the entire team, which is scary. Special damage is obviously going to be very good into Avalugg, and I've also lost a fair number of games where I go for Wide Guard. My opponent predicts it, they knock out the other Pokemon, and then Avalugg gets brought down to 1 HP thanks to Sturdy. Once this thing is down to Sturdy, it's like hard for it to get another attack off. You can maybe click Wide Guard or Protect, but then like you're just at risk of just like aggressively getting knocked out on the slot next to you, and then Avalugg being so slow might just go down without being able to do too much either. So players who are smart about Wide Guard and Predict it often can get a big advantage as well. I also find like Corviknight's a really tough Pokemon for this team to deal with because you don't really have much to threaten it other than like Electroshot outside of rain. So I played against Sneasler plus Corviknight. That's a duo that actually just won the Lille Regional Championships, and Sneasler had coaching. And after coaching, like I just really couldn't do anything into Corviknight, which felt really bad as well. Damage distribution with this team is really important. Like you're often going to need to double up onto something to do a ton of damage, maybe get a knockout onto it. And if you end up like doubling into something that has a Protect, that can also really set you behind. Because yeah, I think like this team relies a lot on trying to, you know, deal super effective damage, get knockouts before your opponent can move, like doubling up into slots. And because you don't have a ton of bulk to work with, it's very, very vulnerable for Flamigo, Tentacruel, Krookodile, or Alolan Ninetales to just faint immediately. So those are just a couple of notes that I wanted to point out. To provide some quick context, this team was built by Luigi De Filpo, an Italian VGC player who brought it to the Lille Regional Championships, which took place towards the end of October 2024. Luigi finished with 5 wins and 3 losses in day 1 of the tournament and was 1 game away from advancing on to day 2, ultimately finishing in 145th place out of 638 players. Luigi was actually featured on stream in round 8 against Jamie Boy, and as soon as I saw Luigi's team, I knew that I wanted to try it out. So I'm really, really grateful that he first of all built the team and then shared it for the entire world to see as well. Luigi was the only player out of 638 players to bring Avalugg to the tournament, which I think is such a fun statistic. And there was also no one else that brought Tentacruel to the tournament. These Pokemon obviously are very, very underused, and so it's really cool for Luigi to find sets that really work for them and be able to pilot them to a really solid finish at this tournament. So yeah, I just wanted to give Luigi some shout outs here because I think this is just such a crazy team, but it really does work when put together, and that takes some really impressive team building in order to make Pokemon like Tentacruel and Avalugg work, right? And so huge shout outs to Luigi. That's a squirrel on my opponent's team. What the heck? I don't even know what that does at all. I couldn't tell you a single thing about it other than that it's cute. Well, they've got Weather with the Pelipper and then Murkrow, probably a Sunny Day to pair up with Typhlosion as well. Honestly, Avalugg I think could be a beast here. We can use Flamigo to set up our own Tailwind. Indeedee is scary, thanks to Expanding Force. I want Avalugg, Ninetales, Krookodile, and then probably Flamigo. Although, honestly, Tentacruel is somewhat interesting to cover for, like, Typhlosion, as well as the Basculegion. But I'm kind of down to lead like Avalugg, Krookodile, Ninetales in the back. I mean, we could also bring our Chaladon in this one, right? If they set up the rain, I get free Electro Shots off, which is cool. But I think having Flamigo for Scrappy Tailwind is really valuable here. Because one of the things we can angle for is like knock out Murkrow early, then get Flamigo out, and then set up Tailwind. If they didn't have Typhlosion, I think I would definitely lock in the Archaladon. Maybe I don't need to be that scared of Typhlosion, but like we don't have Assault Vest. We don't have a defensive Terra that's good against Typhlosion. Although like Archaladon lead here would have been pretty sweet. But honestly, I'm still okay with this. I get an Intimidate off into the Basculegion. And honestly, I think we can just Icicle Spear Murkrow on turn 1 here. Huh. Krookodile, like, I have to respect Rain Dance, Wave Crash. So I'm leaning, honestly, towards just, whoops, definitely not ourselves. Icicle Spear Murkrow and just protect turn 1, since Avalugg isn't really threatened. I could also Flying Terra, like knockoff, for example. But I don't know. I don't want to just feint to something like Rain Dance, Water Terra on their end turn 1. And we're going to see a Terra here. Okay. On Bask. That's fine by me. Body Press now is going to be very good into that. So let's see where this turn goes. I think Avalugg right now looks so sweet into my opponent's comp. Okay, that's cool. They go for Haze to get rid of the attack drop on the Basket Legion. Smart. But then it's just Wave Crash into Krookodile. That's fine by me. Nice. There's Icicle Spear. First one does so much damage already. 2 hits. 3 hits. And 4 hits with the guarantee of loaded dice. Awesome. This might be Choice Scarf Adaptability Basket Legion. I think we certainly have to respect that option. But I think Avalugg is just so well positioned right now. Typhlosion comes out, which makes me want to click Wide Guard, Terra with this, and then knock off into you. I could also just protect this turn, right? Switch in Ninetales. I think, yeah, I'm leaning towards Wide Guard Terra. Knock off. Because if this is not Scarf Basket Legion, then this obviously works out super well, and it covers for Scarf Basket Legion as well. Unless Wave Crush still knocks out Krookodile, even with us not being weak to it. But I have faith in Krookodile. Okay, so here's Wide Guard. Most of the fire type attacks that Typhlosion wants to use normally are spread. But they are going to go for Flamethrower, okay. But of course we have the Sturdy, so I'll survive. And looks like the Choice Scarf is on the Typhlosion. Okay, fine by me. We get the knockout onto that. Yep. Oh no, it's Specs. Okay, so it's max speed. That would make sense. But it's not Scarf Basket Legion. If it were Scarf, it actually would have gotten the KO onto us there, despite my Terra. So that actually wasn't a great Terra usage. I wasn't 100% sure about that Basket Legion calc. But now I can bring out either Flamigo or Ninetales. They could have Pelipper in the back. So I think we want to bring Flamigo out first, especially since we have Focus Sash on it. It's just going to be Indeedee, okay. So we could have actually just won the game there if I just clicked Body Press and knock off. Wasn't the strongest turn on my end, but that's okay. Hit 96 speed with this. Indeedee normally only runs Expanding Force and like Hyper Voice, so I think we can just Wide Guard again, honestly. Close combat into Basket Legion. Okay. Nice. Basket Legion feints. 3v1 now. Should be in a pretty good spot with Focus Sash and tagged on Flamigo. I think that's just game, honestly. So, Basket Legion feints. Yeah, and the Expanding Force. Avalugg was so sick in this game. Like, we used it to knock out Murkrow and having Wide Guard and Sturdy. The Sturdy, just to be able to survive the Flamethrower, was so, so awesome. So I could just keep clicking Wide Guard, honestly, in close combat into Indeedee. Yeah. So, folks, that's Avalugg. I wish I was able to get a Body Press into the Basket Legion slot. But yeah, Basket Legion Terra'd on the first turn because it was worried about, you know, eating up an attack from the Krookodile. It's probably Choice Band on the Basket Legion then, right? I actually do want to pull up the damage calc from Basket Legion into Krookodile because I'm very curious about if it were Choice Scarf, whether or not the Krookodile would have survived. But since Typhlosion actually ended up outspeeding Krookodile, like that turn wasn't amazing by me. Actually, no, I think it's fine since we had Wide Guard, right? So they were Choice Specs and they very smartly attacked around the Wide Guard by going for Flamethrower rather than Eruption or Heat Wave, but it was fine, right? Because it forces you to click a single target move. I guess what could have been scarier is if the Specs Flamethrower one-shot the Krookodile, because then I wouldn't have knocked out the Ninetales, and that could have been a little bit spooky. So yeah, let's pull up the damage calc and look at the Basket Legion calcs, because I'm curious about that. So Basket Legion, if they were adaptability with Wave Crash at neutral against Terraflying Krookodile, has an over 80% chance to get the one-hit knockout onto us, which is pretty scary. I had assumed that by going for Terraflying, we would just survive against the adaptability Basket Legion sets, and so I was definitely off in terms of that damage calc, which is why I'm doing it. Yes, it wasn't relevant ultimately in the end because they were not Choice Scarf. My best bet is that they were Choice Banded and they had Swift Swim rather than adaptability, but Scarf adaptability is a set that you will still run into. So while it may not have been relevant to that battle specifically, it is an important calc to know because it's not a completely uncommon set, right? And my internal damage calc was fairly off. Part of it is because Krookodile is just not exactly the most common Pokemon, and by going for the defensive Terra, I thought I would be able to cover for this, but yeah. You still have a chance of surviving, obviously, and actually looking back in the battle, I don't think I would have changed my play that turn anyway, because I don't think I really felt the need to Terra anything else in that battle, and I'd rather have some chance of surviving against Scarf adaptability. But yeah, in the end, that turn could have been really scary if both of my Pokemon just took a ton of damage, right? Like, let's say they were Scarf adaptability, I lose my Terra from this, I lose Krookodile, and then Flamethrower brings the Avalugg down to 1 HP. One of the other interesting interactions in that game was obviously against the Typhlosion. I thought Typhlosion was going to be slower than the Krookodile, but turns out they were timid rather than modest. Modest Choice Specs is just so common because you want that extra damage output, especially given that you already have Tailwind on that team. And so, yeah, timid was scary because if they were modest, then our Krookodile would have been able to just outspeed the Typhlosion and get a knockout with knockoff. I also wasn't sure how much Flamethrower Eruption would do into Krookodile, so Flamethrower is actually never a one-hit knockout onto us, which is pretty cool, whereas Eruption has a really good chance of getting a one-hit KO, and this is the reason why I wanted to go for Wide Guard on Avalugg, right? Yes, Typhlosion can run single-target attacks, but a spread Eruption there is just so deadly, and if I don't go for Wide Guard, they could Eruption, KO Krookodile, and then the Basket Legion could just KO the Avalugg, and then I lose 2 Pokemon on one turn, and that feels really bad. So even though in the end, a lot of these scenarios weren't relevant, if my opponent just clicked different moves, right? Or if they had a different set on Basket Legion, they could have been relevant. So this is, I think, a really helpful tool to learn after battles, even if it's not exactly like the scenarios that you ran into, still helpful to learn so you have a better frame of reference for the future. Okay, we have the team that I recently featured on the channel. This is just one of the best teams in the format right now, initially created by Latin American VGC player Gabriel Gatti, who won a regionals over in Brazil with it. It's really, really consistent. It's gotten second place in different regional championships, including the Lille Regional Championships where this team debuted. Specs Alola Ninetales, if that is what they're running, is actually really scary. Specs Moonblast is no joke against our team. So Ninetales, definitely something to respect. Flamigo is really good offensively. Tentacruel is cool in this one. Thinking we lead Flamigo, Tentacruel with Avalugg and Ninetales in the back. This could be an angle for Krookodile as well. But I don't love Krookodile's matchup into Ninetales. Like Blizzard and Moonblast just KO me. And it could activate Defiant on King Gambit as well. So let's go with this. But yeah, I think Ninetales is really spooky here because Avalugg just, one, already doesn't love taking like special damage, and like you can actually Moonblast fairly easily into our team composition. I don't have too much counterplay to it. So let's see what they go with. Now, it might not be the Choice Specs variant. Could be, for example, Focus Sash, like Paul Chua used Blizzard, Freeze Dry, Encore. I mean, Ninetales Dragonite, okay. I think turn 1 I could just double protect. I could also switch in my Ninetales. We have Tailwind. I'm down to double protect here, mainly because they should be Specs. Or not they should be. Like, Specs is just one of the items they could be running, so baiting out a Terra here early I think is great. It is going to be the Terra coming out. And it's going to be Terra into Dragonite. Okay, fine by me. Into Flying. Okay. Yeah, so, like, I think turn 1 protecting here is safe because it sees the Ninetales, you know, click a move, and then we also get to see if Dragonite wants a Terra, and they do commit a Terra immediately, which is great. Ooh, it's going to be Freeze Dry here. Okay. And Terra Blast into Flamigo. Oh, no. Terra Blast into Tentacruel. So double up onto that slot. I could switch into my own Ninetales right now. And Tailwind. Yeah, I'm down for that. I guess they could Extreme Speed Freeze Dry my Flamigo right now, which would be a little bit scary. That'd be a great play by them. Okay, it's going to be Freeze Dry into Ninetales. That's fine. We'll get Tailwind up now. Alola Ninetales on their end, definitely tough Pokemon to fight off against. And then Terra Blast here. Let's see if they doubled up into Flamigo. Okay, that's fine. They give me a free switch and back into Tentacruel, which I'll gladly take. With that, I can go for Sludge Bomb and Blizzard. I could also bring out Avalugg right now. I think I prefer Tentacruel first. Yeah. So I think I will just go for Sludge Bomb and Blizzard here. Dragonite pivots out. Okay. What are they going to bring out? King Gambit. Good switch. We get Blizzard off. Solid damage. I don't know if Sludge Bomb gets this KO, though, which is kind of scary. Okay, nice. Good job, Tentacruel. That's huge. Right now, Avalugg is looking pretty solid in this endgame. In this matchup, I think it's really important to get rid of Alola Ninetales because that's their main special attacker, right? So now that we've cleared that from the field, Dragonite comes back out. Clears the way for Avalugg. I have Terra Ground, Terra Blast here, so I'm thinking about Terra Blast into King Gambit and Blizzard. I don't think we need a Terra fighting the Avalugg, and that actually makes us weak into Terra Blast from Dragonite as well. So I'm down to just go for this. Okay. Really happy to have gotten rid of the Ninetales though, because yeah, it just paves the way for Avalugg a lot more now in this endgame. So here's the Terra on Tentacruel. Nice, they don't protect, so we get Specs Blizzard off into both. Cool, Tentacruel now gets the Ground Terra Blast into the King Gambit slot. Super effective damage. Beautiful. Tentacruel's been putting in so much work this game with Sludge Bomb and Ground type coverage. I'm hoping their last one is just going to be Garchomp. That would be amazing. They're going to launch Terra Blast into our Ninetales here. Beautiful. You can see with that snow defense buff, we survive quite nicely. And here's the final Pokemon. And it's Garchomp. Ninetales just wins. But even if we didn't have Ninetales, the Avalugg would just win from this spot too. Last turn of Tailwind and Snow. This could be Life Orb, but normally it's Choice Banded. So I am down to just go for Sludge Bomb here into the Dragonite and Blizzard. They E-Speed. Beautiful. We hang on thanks to the Snow defense boost. Blizzard comes out, knocks out Garchomp. And we're going to see Tentacruel pick up 3 different knockouts in this game. We didn't even bring the Avalugg, but Avalugg was so good against basically their entire team. It's really nice, obviously, into the Dual Dragons, really good into Amoonguss. It can body press into Incineroar and King Gambit. You just have to clear the Ninetales, which is why I prioritized it so much in this game. So I was very happy that it didn't switch out. I was a little bit worried it would hang on from the Sludge Bomb, but Tentacruel here able to really get some surprise knockouts. And yeah, my opponent bringing both Dragonite and Garchomp into a matchup where we had the Ninetales was obviously really good for us. But I think Incineroar would not have actually been super good for them since I would have been able to get around with Ghost Terra on Ninetales and we had the Covert Cloak on the Tentacruel. And Amungus is obviously not the best bring when you have Ninetales. And actually, when I was using that team, like playing against opposing Ninetales was a little bit scary, right? Dragonite was able to soak up a good bit of damage, but yeah, we were able to get Tailwind up, able to eliminate what I thought was the biggest threat in their Ninetales, and really just take over afterwards. Okay, we have a very standard Porygon 2 Ursaluna team. This was one of the primary team compositions coming out of the beginning of Regulation H. We saw a version of this, I believe, get top 8 at the first regional championship in Reg H over in Baltimore. Flamigo over Tyranitar has been used. But overall, they've just got a lot of scary damage, especially obviously from the Ursaluna. So Krookodile, I think, is necessary to bring in this game, thanks to the Intimidate to deal with Ursaluna. It also gives us knockoff, high horsepower, which is pretty sweet. Flamigo's damage here is incredible with Close Combat and Brave Bird. It's super effective into their entire team, so I would think I'd want that. This is Grass Terra or Chaladon, which is good against Amoonguss, Incin. Tentacruel here is interesting, but I think like us being faster isn't necessarily amazing since they'll probably want to set up Trick Room. I really like Avalugg in this one, and I like Ninetales as well. I think I want to lead with Flamigo, Krookodile, Avalugg, and Archaladon. So I'm not bringing Ninetales into this one. It feels questionable. My problem is Ninetales, for example, was really weak into Golden Go. Tyranitar counters it as well. And normally with Ninetales, your goal is to outpace your opponent and get multiple Blizzards off, but I think in this game, because they have so much speed control with Trick Room, and I can't really deny that Trick Room, it's a lot scarier to utilize. But they're going to go Porygon 2 plus the Ursaluna, which I think is a really good lead for us here, okay? Like, I just get Intimidate off immediately, which is huge, and I can just thread in the Krookodile with the, or Porygon with the knockoff. Yeah. So I'm definitely down to knockoff into Porygon. Knockoff Close Combat covers for most things other than defensive Terra on Porygon, which I think they honestly should go for, but we still get rid of Eviolite, which is huge. I'm really surprised to see Ursaluna being led, but I'm very happy. I think their best play here might be to pivot out the Ursaluna out into Incineroar right now. Get an Intimidate off onto us. Nope, it's going to be Amoonguss. Okay. And the thing is, Intimidate actually wouldn't really be relevant here because I have Clear Amulet and we have the Scrappy on Flamigo. But it is going to be the defensive Terra here coming out from Porygon, and it is going to be Terra Flying. Okay. I wonder if knockoff Brave Bird was enough to knock out the Porygon here, because if so, that could have been worth going for. I don't think so, but let's see. Yeah, I think they would have survived anyway, which then makes me feel better about how this turn played out. Oh, they just go for a Terra Blast. No Trick Room on turn 1. Okay. I'm really surprised by that, but I'll take it. Terra Grass Archaladon now looks like a really big win con for us, in my opinion. I think protecting Krookodile this turn makes sense. I lean towards just Brave Birding into this slot and protecting this turn with Crook. They could go Rage Powder here, but if you set up Trick Room, Avalugg suddenly becomes a huge threat to their team. Yep, Amoonguss just protects. I'll take this trade any day, because now I get a free switch it into either Avalugg or the Archaladon. So this should just get the knockout. Ah! It survives. Oh, that feels so bad. I could have attacked with Krookodile there. Yeah, I think denying Trick Room would have probably just won us the match on the spot. But it's okay. I'm going to go into Archaladon now. Oh, that feels really bad. But I can Terra Grass now. Flash Cannon into you. And knock off into you. The problem is they could just Spore Krookodile I'm hoping they Spore Archaludon or switch out into Ursaluna. It is a switch into Ursaluna, but I'm assuming I'm getting Spored on the Krookodile slot. If they were to Spore Archaludon, though, this would be huge. I could have attacked. I probably should have with Krookodile. I just thought, okay, like Brave Bird should get the knockout based on how much Close Combat just did. They don't have Eviolite. So I might have gotten a high roll with Close Combat. But if we had just knocked out Porygon there, I think we would have been in such a commanding position because then I get the free switch it into Avalugg or the Archaludon. But they do Spore into Archaludon. That's huge because now I remove your Flame Orb. Oh, that's awesome. And we get a crit, which is nice. But more importantly, yeah, bye-bye to the Flame Orb. Okay, amazing. We're in a position now where I think late game Avalugg looks really powerful here. I'm down to Body Press into you now. We want to position Avalugg. I think Ash Trick Room is expiring ideally. Body Press into Ursaluna. They could Pollen Puff, honestly. Protecting here is kind of obvious, so I might actually just attack here. Because if you Spore me, it means you're not getting a Pollen Puff off. Yeah, which is fine. Then I just knock out your Ursaluna. And right now, this is kind of a waiting room for Avalugg. They Facade into us. That just increases our defense. Fine by me. Cool. I think the remaining question I have now is what is their final Pokemon? Because Goldengo is still pretty scary. I can't really touch it with most of my Pokemon other than Krookodile. If they have Goldengo, this is the time to bring it out right now. But it's Porygon 2 coming back out. Okay. They could obviously Terra Blast into our Archaludon. Terra Blast and Self Pollen Puff right now is a great play for them to make. I think I would like to protect our Archaludon here and then switch in Avalugg. The other question I have is how fast their Amoonguss is relative to Krookodile. Or sorry, not Krookodile, Avalugg. But I do have a lot of offensive pressure right now with Icicle Spear. Oh, they don't go for Pollen Puff. I think that's absolutely huge. They had the ability to heal themselves potentially here. And they do just Terra Blast into us. Okay. I mean, unless they are like running no speed investment on like their min speed Amoonguss, Avalugg actually outpaces here, which would be really big. I lean towards wanting to go for Icicle Spear and a Porygon here. It's tempting to just try to knock out the Amoonguss though, honestly. Flash Cannon into you, Icicle Spear into Amoonguss. Okay, they just Rage Powder, so we get Icicle Spear off, which is big. One hit. 2 hits. Are you Citrus Berry? 3 hits. That's a crit. Nice. Nah, it is Citrus. Okay. That's scary. Four hits. Only 4, unfortunately. Oh, that was a crit, actually. Yeah, it was just 4. Terra Blast comes out onto our Archaludon. I assume that KOs us. Yeah. Oh, Porygon surviving with just 1 was so unfortunate. Trick Room expires. Krookodile has taken a turn of sleep already. So I think if we wake up here, High Horsepower can just KO Amoonguss. And then Icicle Spear KO Porygon. We might need the immediate wake though, so let's see. I'm just going to go for it. High Horsepower here. Icicle Spear into you. Can Krookodile manage a 1-turn wake right now? Ah, it stays asleep. I saw the win in front of us there. But they go for Recover. Okay, so they'll probably Spore into the Avalugg. Oh, we were faster than the Amoonguss here. Which meant they could have Spored us actually under Trick Room. Was it right to Icicle Spear Amoonguss there then? Imagine if they pollen puffed here instead of sporing us. Okay. No, they do just spore us. Okay. Let's see what their last one is. If it's Incineroar, I think we actually just win the game. Tyranitar, I think we also have good odds against. It's mainly Golden I don't want to see. It's T-Tar. That's huge. Wait, okay. I'm happily gonna take that. Down to just high horsepower here and burn a turn of sleep. Because if we wake up, I just like Tyranitar really struggles into Avalugg. So we've taken 2 turns of sleep on Krookodile. I can't see my Pokemon anymore. We do stay asleep for 3 turns. Okay, so does Krookodile survive the turn? They go for knockoff onto us. Okay. And Pollen Puff, I guess? Does that KO us, though? Let's see. Nice, we survive. That's huge. Well, Krookodile is guaranteed to wake up now, which is huge. I think the main thing we want to cover for is Amoonguss Protect in this spot. So I'm down to Protect Avalugg, Body Press into T-Tar. It was so huge that they didn't bring Golden Go as their last one. So Krookodile protects. Let's see if Amoonguss protects here. Okay, they go for Rage Powder. That's fine. Yeah, it's going to be Rock Slide here. See how much we take. Not that much. Avalugg stays asleep too. Frustrating. If we just got like one quicker wake up on either, I think this game would just be immediately over, but I think we're still in fine shape, truthfully. Knockoff should get the knockout here. I'm down to knockoff and wide guard right now. Avalugg wakes up, nice. There's the wide guard. They Rage Powder. Yep, so we should knock out Amoonguss now. That's out of the way. So now it's a 2v1. What did you go for? Yes, they Rock Slide. Beautiful. Okay. Huge, huge. Now I can go for just high horsepower and body press, I think. I'm wondering if I should actually wide guard again. I'm worried about losing to a flinch. High horsepower shouldn't KO T-Tar anyway, so I think the play I actually like more is protect, body press. Because no move Tyranitar goes for should KO Avalugg. And I don't think you'll want to go for Rock Slide again since I just revealed wide guard. So my guess is they low kick or knock off here. Okay, they just Rock Slide again. Well, if we don't flinch, we just win the game on the spot here. 101 down to 41. And we don't flinch. Beautiful. Body press gets the 1-hit KO. Nice. Good call by them to click Rock Slide again there. I thought surely because I'd revealed wide guard, like wide guard plus high horsepower was just really safe, but I wasn't expecting high horsepower to get the 1-hit knockout there. We can pull up the calc and confirm that. But yeah, like Tyranitar normally is going to be really bulky on these teams. But Avalugg was so huge for us in this game. Krookodile was so huge as well. Being able to remove that Flame Orb. I mean, ultimately, I think we needed all of our Pokemon. The one play that I think I would do differently is against Porygon, the turn Amoonguss protected. That could have been a double up immediately onto the Porygon for a knockout. I think what also made this dynamic awkward was not knowing Amoonguss's speed tier, because the Avalugg here is actually slower than Amoonguss if they are normal Amoonguss, like, you know, 0 EV's 31 speed IV, but if you run min speed Amoonguss, then obviously the Amoonguss will outpace us. And so when they went for that Rage Powder, that could have been a spore into Avalugg immediately. We didn't get the best sleep rolls in this game either, so yeah, if we had just woken up a little bit sooner, I think the end game wouldn't have been as much of a sweat. The main scary thing is being vulnerable to, say, eating up a critical hit or getting flinched with the Avalugg there. If we had gotten flinched, then the end game becomes really interesting, because then I could just go for wide guard plus the high horsepower. And I could have just gone for that initially. I think what I was worried about is losing to the scenario where they don't click Rock Slide, they knock out my Krookodile, or I miss high horsepower, and then Tyranitar gets single target Rock Slide into the Avalugg, right? Which then becomes really, really scary. So yeah, I don't know if my decision to not wide guard there and go for Protect plus Body Press ultimately was the best play, but I figured like if they just don't go for Rock Slide, this just wins me the game on the spot. Even if they go for Rock Slide, it's still okay. And yeah, I think if high horsepower was a KO onto Tyranitar, then I would obviously just attack there. But let's pull up the calc and see how much it does. So first of all, high horsepower into Tyranitar is never a one-hit knockout unless we get a critical hit, as you can see from this damage calc. Now, in my head, the two main plays I was considering that turn were the play that I made as well as wide guard and high horsepower. I actually think there was a third option that may have been the best, which was just straight up high horsepower and body press. The reason for that is actually because Tyranitar could, of course, run Stone Edge. It's very uncommon since normally you run Rock Slide, Knockoff, Low Kick, and Terra Blast. But if they had Stone Edge, they would have been able to like make the read target Avalugg and potentially just get a one-hit knockout, especially with Stone Edge having a higher crit chance as well. So I think if I had to replay that, I would actually just go high horsepower plus the body press. But to explain why I went for the Protect, I was basically worried that if I went for the other option of wide guard plus high horsepower doesn't get the KO. Let's say they read into the wide guard, they knock out Krookodile, then Avalugg takes sand damage, and then I was worried that single target Rock Slide would get the knockout onto Avalugg. Now, turns out Avalugg should survive, but basically the reason why I was scared was because the spread Rock Slide did 60 damage. That's actually the maximum roll possible, but because I saw that, that was my only frame of reference, and I was like, okay, 60 damage, that's actually a bit more than I thought. What if you basically got a low roll with that 60, and you can actually get even higher rolls with it? Then, of course, single target Rock Slides could do more damage, and then you factor in sand damage as well, and that's basically what spooked me out a little bit. Ultimately, I do think I like the play of high horsepower body press the most, because in the end, my opponent needs to connect on both Krookodile and Avalugg and get a flinch onto the Avalugg, and so the odds are obviously quite slim there. So I don't think I actually love my Protect play, but I just wanted to explain the reasoning behind it over, for example, wide guard plus high horsepower. That is an Espathra. That's really cool. Espathra, Primarina, Instant Baxcalibur, Golden Go, and Hisuian Decidueye. What do I want to do here? Flamigo looks really good. Tentacruel is honestly really intriguing. Krookodile is intriguing. I don't think I want Archaludon here. Flamigo. I don't love Ninetales in this one. I'd mainly be using it for Freeze Dry, I think. I'm honestly thinking Flamigo, Tentacruel, Krookodile, Avalugg here. So basically the logic here is, okay, Ninetales I think is not great because I can't just spam Blizzard. They have Golden Go, they have Baxcalibur, they have Instant, they have Primarina. That's 4 things that Blizzard is not very strong into. And we set up Snow for their Baxcalibur, and I really don't want to just give that a defense boost for free. So that's how I eliminated it from the team preview process. The other question to ask then is, it's like, okay, is giving up the Snow defense boost for Avalugg then a downside, right? Because they do have some physical attackers, but I think one, given that they have Golden Go, when I see Golden Go, I'm like, I want as much anti-Golden Go as possible, and that's why I want to bring the Flamigo, the Krookodile, and the Tentacruel. Yeah, all of those can give Golden Go some trouble. Whereas if you like go Ninetales Avalugg, for example, you have 2 Pokemon that are completely useless other than you spec Star Pulse. Speaking of Golden Go, it is out here on the field. Okay. Double Protect is what I expect on turn 1. Tailwind Protect is normally not a very common move, but I think it could make sense here, because they could Protect and try to knock out Tentacruel. They could Terra. And I want a Tailwind before they can really outpace me with speed boosts. Tentacruel's protecting. I think Golden Go has to protect here. What? Wow, is all I have to say to that. Oh my gosh. That was really cool. That was very bad for me. I wonder if they just Lumina crash into me now. I'm gonna protect here. Ground Terra Blast. That was crazy. I didn't even know. I haven't never seen Pounce being used in VGC like that. So, yeah, that is a really, really cool strat. Would have never covered for that. I could have double protected, I guess, but basically what I'm doing here is normally if you're running Thunderbolt on Golden Go, you're going to be Choice Specs or like Scarf. Shouldn't be Scarf here if they're going for Pounce. Yeah, so my guess is they double up onto the Avalugg, and then next turn I can switch Avalugg out into the Krookodile. Good damage from Terra Blast there. Yep, there's that double up. Okay. Actually, I don't necessarily need to switch, right? But conserving Sturdy might not be a bad idea. I just think, like, they're probably feeling really pressured by Avalugg. But I outspeed this anyway. Does Muddy Water get the KO? Because honestly, the play I want to make here is Icicle Spear into you, Muddy Water. But I think because they're specs, it's probably better to switch into Krookodile. And I'll Muddy here. Covert Cloak is huge against Lumina Crash. And they do stay in, which is promising. Okay. Keeping ourselves in this after a disastrous turn 1. I mean, that turn 1 literally could not have played out any worse. Okay, they just protect. I guess that's fine. Ideally, we don't knock out Golden Go here, actually. Because then it gives them denies them a free switch in. But we do connect onto it. Okay, nice. Yes, we don't get the KO. Sweet. That's very good. Because I think now Golden Go has to switch out. They haven't Terra'd. I think we really want to knock out Espathra right now. So I'm down to knock off into you. And Muddy Water. Part of me thinks like maybe I should take advantage of knowing like Golden Go is going to switch out here. I'm also worried about Lumina, or sorry, just Hypnosis from Espathra right now. Yep, so Golden Go switches. It's got to be Spexed. Excalibur comes out. Okay, that makes sense. Fine by me. Okay, it's just Lumina Crash. I'll gladly take that, thanks to Covert Cloak. Nice, Muddy Water doesn't miss. Somehow we're keeping ourselves in this game despite the worst possible turn 1. Crit onto backs, which is quite lucky. I was hoping for accuracy drop. Yeah, like I could have tried to go for the prediction, but the reality is like knowing backs is going to come out doesn't really do much for us. What's really good right now is I think my opponent has to go into their final Pokemon. I don't think you can go into Golden Go because it'll just get KO'd. And it's Primarina. Okay. This is really close. I want to double protect this turn. They still have Terra available to them. And they could switch into Golden Go as well. I was really hoping to see Terra this turn. The lack of Terra is not great to see in my opinion. Icicle Spear into Krookodile. Hyper Voice. Basically, like, I think here I go for High Horsepower into you and Sludge Bomb into you. But their play would be to either defensively Terra Primarina or switch out into Golden Go. Not Terraing last turn. Oh, it's Scarf Excalibur. Oh man, so many surprises in this one. That's, yeah, like that's so uncommon. I'm not gonna cover for that. But this is just a double KO now, unfortunately. And I miss High Horsepower. Oh, wow. Not much you can do about that. Give him Scarf. I guess because they targeted the Krookodile, if I had protected Krookodile and just Sludge Bomb Primarina, then I had a chance the last turn. Maybe that would have been better. I mean, I ended up missing high horsepower anyway, but if that had happened and this was Specs, for example. No, Specs is on Golden. I don't even know what the item on this is, honestly. Yeah, and the game's just over. I can't knock out Primarina here, so. We both have crazy teams here. Pounce is so cool. Like, Pounce T-Bolt knocking out the Flamigo on turn 1 to deny me Tailwind. I did not see that coming. So Pounce, Lumina Crash, Protect on the Espathra. I think, yeah, in this game, we just fell behind so much. Tailwind would have been so good for us because they were Scarf on Baxcalibur, Specs on, like, being able to outspeed the Baxcalibur was always really important. Because I was like, I think we're actually in fine shape because the Avalugg will always win against Baxcalibur. So I was like, look, if we get the knockout onto Primarina here, if you're not Scarf, then Primarina faints, you knock out Tentacruel, but then Krookodile outspeeds Golden Go, KOs that, and then the Avalugg wins a 1v1 into the Baxcalibur. So normally when you see Baxcalibur, I assume Loaded Dice in this format. It's also really interesting because they're running Icicle Spear, but they're not Loaded Dice. And so, yeah, that was like the one item that would save them there. And I think Sludge Bomb High Horsepower covers for most combinations of Primarina that we can run into in their Terra types as well. So it's a little unfortunate, but really cool team here. My opponent just has so infinite surprises on their team. We've got Pelipper, Archaludon, Whimsicott, Annihilate, Dragapult, Ursaluna, Blood Moon here. This is a scary matchup, I think. I think, like, we could bring our own Archaludon here and take advantage of them setting up Rain. I don't know what kind of Annihilate this is going to be. Scarf would make a lot of sense. I'm honestly thinking Avalugg Flamigo because of Sturdy and Focus Sash. So I can take a Final Gambit. Icicle Spear is really good into a lot of their team. Yeah, I think I like that. Ninetales Blizzard. Nothing resists on their team. But it could be Tentacruel or Archaludon. I think I do like Ninetales here. It also helps Archaludon out. And I think Archaludon's better. It's the fourth one for us here. I just don't love Tentacruel. The main thing I'd be using is Sludge Bomb into Whimsicott, maybe Ground Terra Terra Blast. Ground Terra Terra Blast actually isn't a big enough reason to bring into Archaludon because you wall the Electro Shots. But it also doesn't do that much damage into Archaludon. Whereas the logic behind my Archaludon is that it's bulky, it can take advantage of their rain, it can heal up, and it can protect. All which are valuable for us. Whimsicott Pelipper? Oh, that's an interesting lead. Okay. I am more than okay with this because I think I can just match your Tailwind and Icicle Spear Whimsicott turn 1. You know what would be really bad? Whimsicott switching out into Archaludon on turn 1 here. Because then I would just stack up stamina for them. Let's see if they go for it. This is, yeah, not a common lead, honestly. Because you actually don't apply, like, a ton of offensive pressure. Although I guess against my lead, you do. Ooh, okay, they're going to Terra. Terra Whimsicott? Steel, Fire. Okay. That's a nice play. Very nice. They're slower than Flamigo. Interesting. Might just be a double up onto Avalugg here then. Pelipper is also quite slow. It's slower than Avalugg under Tailwind. Wow. Okay. Well, that is valuable speed knowledge for sure. So we force them to Terra immediately, which I'll take. Muddy Water. Flamigo dodges it. Would have brought us down to Focus Sash. Wow, a lot of surprises immediately from this game. Okay. But now I can just bring our Chaladon out and Electro Shot. Pelipper may switch here, right? I'm down to Electro Shot into it and Close Combat into it. This covers for switch outs into like Ursaluna Blood Moon, for example. As well as there are Chaladon. But yeah, definitely a lucky dodge on turn 1. Although, like, we would have been brought down to 1 HP, so Flamigo still would have hung around. And Muddy Water obviously is not the most reliable move because of its accuracy. So let's see how this turn plays out. Because I'm guessing they might be specs on Pelipper, honestly. Yeah, they do switch. Okay. Show me our Chaladon or Ursaluna right now. That's our Chaladon. Sick. Awesome. And they just Tailwind as well. Yeah, I'll gladly take that turn. What's huge here is Flamigo actually outspeeding Whimsicott. They're not max speed Whimsicott, which we can really take advantage of. So it's going to be sturdy, our Chaladon here, looks like. Yep. Glad to feature a matchup where we can bring the Archaladon, right, and Electro Shot. It looks crazy in team preview, but the reality is that, like, if your opponent doesn't have Rain, Ninetales plus Avalugg is really strong into a lot of teams, and if they have Rain, then they'll bring it to try to stop Ninetales most of the time, and then our Chaladon can take advantage of that Rain. So our Chaladon is out of the way. I can now close combat into the Whimsicott. They probably have to go into their final one, but no, they are just bringing out the Pelayout. Okay. Well, I'm down to just Electro Shot here. And close combat here. They just end up forfeiting, yeah. It's so interesting, like, Avalugg forced them to Terror on turn 1, and I think they were probably hoping to go all in on that turn and hope that I wouldn't... Or sorry, like, they were hoping that they would just get that defensive switch in, but yeah, I don't know. When I see Muddy Water come out from Pelipper, I just really think it's going to be choice specs, honestly. I didn't have a good way to, like, 100% tell based on the damage, but yeah, I don't know. Muddy Water, like, is just kind of an odd move because you really want Weather Ball, Hurricane, Tailwind, and Protect normally. I guess you could drop Weather Ball for Muddy Water, and so, like, that turn could have been scary if they just, like, protected Pelipper. But even if you protect Pelipper, like, your Whimsicott's still slower than Flamigo, so I can just close combat, knock you out. And so, yeah. And my opponent may have been a little bit frustrated by that Muddy Water miss onto the Flamigo as well. So I'm curious what their final Pokemon was, but this game highlights why you should bring our Chaladon into the Rain matchup, because, yeah, getting free Electro Shots is awesome, and I'm curious, yeah, if their fourth one, I guess with Flamigo's Sash not being broken, like, our fourth Pokemon, and Flamigo just applied so much offensive pressure to whatever their last one could be, whether it be Ursaluna, and by them, like, spending the Terra just to deal with Avalugg in the early game made it really hard for them, because then nothing else could defensively Terra, which we could really take advantage of. Okay, Murkrow, Goldengo, Typhlosion, Primarina, Indeedee, Sneasler. I think one of the most amusing things is Murkrow's existence in the open team sheet best of 3 meta is, like, nearly non-existent, but it's so popular, I feel like, on ladder. And it makes sense because, like, I think it's a little bit less consistent in open team sheet environments, but closed team sheet hyper offense in general is just really powerful, since one turn can just win you the game. Avalugg is going to be really good into Murkrow. I think I like Avalugg Flamigo here. Krookodile. Do I even want Ninetales, honestly? With specs, like, they're just going to set up Tailwind. What else would I bring? I don't think our Chaladon is it in this one. Tentacruel? I mean, they have Sneasler, and, like, one of Tentacruel's existence is to deal with Sneasler, so... Okay, I'm down. Let's see. But yeah, I think, like, Flamigo can match their Tailwind, which is good. I just, like, didn't want to bring Ninetales because they have weather control, presumably with Murkrow, Sunny Day, and maybe even Rain Dance as well. Murkrow Typhlosion. Okay, fine by me. have wide guard. So the first question is whether or not they know about Avalugg having wide guard. Flamigo shouldn't one-shot this. I'm leaning towards wide guard close combat turn 1. And if they go for a spread move, like, I feel like this would just give us such a big advantage. Yeah, so Tailwind comes out. It is funny because Flamigo actually is a wide guard user as well. So, you know, that can be pretty spooky for my opponent, but now I just get close combat off. That almost just one-shots them. Beautiful. I think Typhlosion probably switches out now, so I can Icicle Spear into Murkrow and then set up Tailwind of my own. Oh, it protects. Okay, that's fine. Foul Play into Avalugg. Sure. Now we set up Tailwind. Beautiful. And the Focus Sash is still intact in Flamigo as well, which is great. Okay, if we get 5 hits, I think that's a KO'd Murkrow. 4. Nice. Good job, Avalugg. So we clear Murkrow, done 90% to Typhlosion. A lot of times Typhlosion is Specs or Scarf, so that's why I went for this play. Given that they have Protect, it's probably Protect, Eruption, Heatwave, Shadow Ball is my guess. And so they were like, you know, I don't want to just faint right now. But we're in really good shape right now, I would say. Primarina comes out. Okay. It's a great opportunity to switch in Tentacruel now. I'm down to switch into Tentacruel, and I mean, Typhlosion did just Protect. I think Golden Go is going to be their last one. Could just wide guard again, honestly. But this gives me more offensive pivoting. Switch in. I honestly don't even hate switching in Protecting this turn to see what Primarina wants to do. But I think we could have taken the time to just play offensively this turn. So Tentacruel hits the field. Flamigo protects. Baiting out a Protect from Primarina would be awesome here. They just Shadow Ball into Tentacruel, that's fine. And Moonblast, okay. Nice double up. That looks like Specs damage to me. I'm gonna Muddy Water here and Brave Bird into... I mean, I want to double up onto Primarina, actually. I just think Primarina can Terra here right now. I'm down for Muddy Water and actually Close Combat. Because I think Primarina should Terra, but they actually don't. Okay, that's fine, though. Because their Tailwind now stalls out. I could have just gone, yeah, Sludge Bomb, Brave Bird up. But I thought, like, what I was worried about was Poison Terra Primarina coming out there. And I'm still happy to get chip damage onto this. I think every little bit of damage matters. But yeah, look how much that Close Combat does. And if they had Terra'd, we would have just, like, won the game on the spot there, right? Okay, and they just Moonblast into Flamigo. Fine by me. We have Focus Sash here. And now your Tailwind is over. I think their last one should be Golden Go. I'm gonna just Sludge Bomb you now. Close Combat you. What can they really do here? Switch Primarina out into Golden Go? Let's see if it is indeed Golden Go. Yep. Okay. I thought maybe they would consider switching the other way around, but yeah, I think that more or less confirms that it should be Scarfed on their end. But that's still totally fine. We now knock out the Typhlosion. Oh, sorry, Specs on Primarina. Tailwind peters out, but we still have the speed advantage here with Tentacruel, which is huge, as well as Flamigo. This is the turn where I think they should Terra. Avalugg also does nothing for me. Oh, actually it has wide guard. Never mind. It totally does something for me. I'm happy to just double protect this turn and see what they want to do. I'm impressed that they just stayed in with Primarina and Moonblast at the previous turn, but it was still totally okay since they targeted Flamigo. Scarf Golden Go, by the way, is also a thing. But if you lock into Scarf, Make It Rain, Avalugg just walls you. Krookodile knocks out Primarina, and then we just win the game there. But I'm double protecting here to, one, see what Primarina wants to lock into, and then two, if someone Terras, then they are going to Terra here. Okay. Terra Primarina, finally. And it was poison. See, this is why I went for Muddy Water plus... Well, actually, I guess... Muddy Water still wouldn't have done enough damage. I would have needed to Brave Bird anyway, but I didn't want to Brave Bird because of recoil. And I didn't know what Terra they'd be, right? But glad to confirm that. Here's the double protect. Okay, they go for Nasty Plot, but that's fine. And the reason that's fine is because we have Krookodile in the back. And Dazzling Gleam. Yep, no problem. With Krookodile, we just outspeed Golden Go, so I can just go for... I could really Terra anyone. Honestly, I think this is not a bad turn to just Terra Tentacruel. Terra you, Terra Blast into you, and Brave Bird into you. Flamigo, Tentacruel, and Krookodile all outspeed Golden Go, which is really, really awesome. Sick. And so the idea is, I just need a little bit of chip damage onto the Golden Go to just KO it. We should outpace with both of our Pokemon here. Golden Go probably protects, honestly, but they don't actually even protect. Okay, nice. So we get Ground Terra Blast. That should do 50% at least. Almost actually KOs it. Nice. And Brave Bird. Cool. I could have switched the ordering of that, but I wasn't confident Terra Blast would actually knock out Primarina. Maybe I'm giving Primarina too much credit. And I figured, like, Primarina here is spec, so it shouldn't be able to protect. And, like, even if I lose both Pokemon here, it's just a free switch it into Krookodile and then just Wide Guard and Make It Rain. Or, sorry, Wide Guard and knock off. Yeah. I just didn't want the scenario in which, like, I Terra Blast into Primarina. Primarina survives. Like, Tentacruel's not exactly the most offensive Pokemon, and Primarina's very specially defensive. And so, knowing that Primarina couldn't protect, we get the guaranteed knockout with Brave Bird there. And now I just get Krookodile and Avalugg and just go Wide Guard plus knockoff. And this combo is so awesome in shutting down Golden Go. So, all of the team members played a huge role in this game, honestly. Avalugg for that turn 1, Flamigo to set up Tailwind. I'm impressed by my opponent holding on to their Terra. I think they played the mid game nicely to stay in it, because I felt like I had a huge advantage in this game after turn 1. So yeah, props to them for finding some place to keep themselves in it. But the upside here is just having so many Pokemon that are naturally faster than the Golden Go. So Golden Go goes for Protect, but that's fine. Like, your standard Golden Go set now can't touch the Krookodile since I have Wide Guard, right? You're going to be Nasty Plot, Protect, Shadow Ball, Make It Rain, so you can only click Shadow Ball, and that'll never knock out Krookodile. Not that it matters since Krookodile's faster than Golden Go anyway, so this team is very anti-Golden Go for sure. And with Golden Go being so common in the meta, it's really satisfying. So here's another Wide Guard, but knockoff should just KO Golden Go. Yep. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I think the key thing that was huge for us in this game was the Typhlosion turn. Typhlosion is a Pokemon that just normally wants to rely on spread moves, and basically in my head I was like, even if they don't go for a spread move here, it's still okay, because what are you going to do? Go for Flamethrower? Well, I can survive with either Pokemon thanks to Sturdy as well as Focus Sash, so it's fine. And if you do go for a spread move, it just gives me such a huge advantage in this game. I think, like I said, my opponent made a lot of nice predictions in the mid game, but because I had such an early lead, it was totally fine to not have to like lean into any aggressive reads, right? So like I switched in Tentacruel, I protected with the Flamigo, and I could have just attacked, for example. My opponent nicely doubled up onto the Tentacruel slot, and then I was reading Primarina into Terraring, and then they didn't Terra, and then did finally Terra in the end. But yeah, I think ultimately the Typhlosion slot just like didn't offer very much, and once they protected, I knew I had a guaranteed knockout. Oh, and then they switched in Golden Go as well onto the Sludge Bomb, so it was like back to back to back, like really good reads, but at the end I still just had such a lead because Krookodile like Krookodile was actually such a big win condition in this game as well, right? So the main thing is matching their Tailwind. If Flamigo didn't come out in this game, I think I would have really struggled. But because we had Sash Flamigo, we could match Tailwind, which was big, and then really go from there. But yeah, like all of the pieces really played an important role in this game. Okay, this is Wolf Glick's Tentacruel team for the most part, but instead of Palmot, there is the Kilowatt roll. So none of the items are going to be the same, but the idea is that you have really powerful attackers in Typhlosion and Garchomp. I can't believe we have a Tentacruel versus Tentacruel matchup here. That's awesome. Weezing can obviously shut down abilities. Corviknight is a pretty big problem Pokemon for this team. Kilowatt is pretty scary as well. Avalugg is honestly interesting. They have a lot of things that don't want to take an Icicle Spear. Kilowatt, Garchomp, and the Tentacruel. Tentacruel, Weezing, definitely one lead we want to respect. Okay, I'm down for Flamigo here. Flamigo Avalugg is what I'm thinking in this one. And then in the back, Ninetales. And Krookodile or Tentacruel. I'm gonna bring Tentacruel here for Hisuian Typhlosion. Gives me a resistance to fire type damage, which is nice. So let's see, there's a lot of flexibility in what they can do. Kilowatt Garchomp, Corviknight Garchomp, Tentacruel Weezing, Typhlosion Corviknight, Typhlosion plus Kilowatt, I think all very viable leads. And it is going to be Typhlosion Kilowatt, okay. This is scary for sure, especially if they just match Tailwind on turn 1. I have Wide Guard. I do want a Wide Guard, honestly. Close Combat, Typhlosion, Wide Guard is the play I'm leaning towards. I also thought about just sniping off Kilowatt, like... If they Tailwind, I could go Icicle Spear into them and knock them out. If they don't Tailwind, I Icicle Spear, knock them out, and then I Tailwind. Sorry, if they Tailwind and I Tailwind, we match their Tailwind. Kilowatt switches. Okay, that works for me. Into Weezing. Oh, nice play. I didn't think about that. We'll see if Typhlosion went for a spread move, but that was an opportunity to click Brave Bird. That was really cool. Oh, and they overheat. Nicely done. Into Avalugg. And it gets rid of Sturdy as well. That was such a sick turn 1 play. Like, having my abilities cancel just totally mess with me here. And Close Combat even fails. Well done. Sick, sick, sick. I'm gonna bring out Tentacruel now. That was obviously really disastrous, but now we at least have the opportunity to set up Tailwind. Yeah. Tailwind, and I will Muddy Water here. Kudos to my opponent. What an amazing find. Shutting down Sturdy and Scrappy. And both of my abilities so valuable there. I went for Close Combat because I didn't want to take recoil damage with the Brave Bird. So, way to play around my potential Wide Guard threat. That was, yeah, just a beautiful play by my opponent. And yeah, Weezing is really scary in this matchup, honestly. Krookodile lead would have been nice, but then it would have activated competitive on Kilowatt, which is really tough. So Typhlosion pivots out. We're going to go into Kilowatt, that's fine. Muddy should do decent damage here. Okay, we connect on both, nice. Oh, over half to Kilowatt? What? Okay, that's huge. And it's straight in Steam here, that's fine. Okay. I mean, if Muddy Water is going to do that much damage to Kilowatt, We don't really need Flamigo that much. I think I'm down to just Brave Bird into Wheezing and Muddy Water here. Yeah. If it's choice on Typhlosion, then since I have Tailwind set up, the Tentacruel would just be able to outpace and KO them. I can't believe, I mean, Kilowattrel is not the bulkiest Pokemon, but yeah, like a non-boosted Muddy Water just does 60% to Kilowattrel, which is amazing. Did we miss? No. Oh, man. GG. That feels so sad. Okay. Well, any chance we had of a comeback now is certainly exhausted. Well, I guess I go for Tailwind instead of going for an electric type attack, so maybe we still have a small chance because I at least resist this and I still outpace you. And I get crit. Oh, it's such a shame because we would have gotten the double knockout, denied them Tailwind. Typhlosion has to come back out. I have Tailwind, so I just outpace you, and then it's Ninetales plus Tentacruel. 2 turns of Tailwind left, though, so it's not completely over yet. I have Freeze Dry. I could lock into Moonblast. What do we think their last one is going to be? I think I probably want to lock into an Ice type attack given what they have in the back. I'm going for Blizzard Muddy Water here. Blizzard's pure strength is just too strong. Okay, Kilowattrel protects, so as long as one of my 2 moves connect, then Snow will be back online, which is good. But we're gonna miss the Blizzard there. Muddy Water comes out. Okay. That does connect on Wheezing, so abilities are back online now. And I am Terra Ground with the Tentacruel. So I can Terra Ground to get around Kilowattrel. Yeah, I was hoping they would protect that turn, expecting me to protect with Tentacruel. Obviously, I have risked just getting KO'd there. But yeah, I can't help but wonder how this game would have gone without the double Muddy Water miss. But that's one of the downsides of this team. You can miss a fair bit of your attacks. Muddy Water, 85% accurate. Knockoff, not knockoff. The high horsepower on Krookodile, 95% accurate. It is Garchomp as their last one, so... I think I still lose, though, because they've staggered Tailwind, and you just simply protect Garchomp right now. Yeah, and then you just bring out Typhlosion. I think here I'm gonna just Blizzard and protect. I'm also wondering, like, maybe I could win the game if I just Terra Tentacruel this turn. And, like, surprise Garchomp with a KO if they go for a defensive Terra. Yeah, we really needed to deny them Tailwind on Kilowattrel, but... Oh, they do Terra. I could have, What Terra type is it? Terra Ground, okay. I mean, it's Specs Blizzard. Is it Scarf Chomp? We protect. Yeah, they go for Discharge. That's fine. I think Specs Blizzard still KOs you, to be honest. Oh my gosh, it hangs on. Wow. That's impressive. Earthquake? But if you're Life Orb, you end up fainting. Does this KO me with Snow? Oh, it does. Okay. Are you Life Orbed? Okay, so that faints. Typhlosion can just Shadow Ball me now. I need to hope for a double protect because my Tailwind expires and they have one more turn of Tailwind left. Yeah, I really think we would have had this actually, despite the disastrous turn 1, if I didn't double miss Muddy Water. But I guess that turn I could have gone for more accurate attacks, right? 3 turns of Snow. Yeah, last turn of Tailwind. If we get the double protect off, then I get single target Muddy Water, which might KO. So Tentacruel just has to protect here. We get it. Okay. Tailwind is out. I mean, I could ground Terra Blast, but Muddy Water is just strictly stronger. I can miss, obviously, but I don't know if ground... I wouldn't expect ground Terra Blast to get the KO, so I'm gonna go Muddy Water. Oh, they're just faster anyway. Okay, so they're max speed. Scarf? Oh, wait, so I survive. Okay. Muddy Water. Oh! GG. It does not get the KOs. So close. Oh, Tentacruel, you really tried your best. You really did. That was a close one. If we were Terra Ice Ninetales, we would have won this one, I think, because I would have been able to just Terra Ice KO them. KO the Garchomp. Does it actually make a difference? Yeah, because Typhlosion that has to lock into an attack. You probably don't want to lock into a fire type attack. But what a roller coaster of emotions. But yeah, I mean, I was playing from a pretty big deficit after turn 1, and my opponent played incredibly by switching in that Weezing. I think we actually had a lot of resources to work with, and like Ninetales in general was really strong, but the turn that Muddy Water double missed, I could have launched Sludge Bomb into Kilowattrel instead, and I think that may have been the more consistent play rather than hoping it would connect. I just saw like the double knockout right in front of me, and I think most importantly in this game, I just had to deny them from setting up Tailwind, and unfortunately I was not able to accomplish that. So even though I double missed that turn, like I could have gone for Sludge Bomb into Kilowattrel, Brave Bird into the Weezing, and I think that's honestly a fine play to make because we don't have to worry about Weezing doing much damage to Toadscroll, or sorry, to Tentacruel, right? Like Tentacruel was actually in a really good spot since it's choice specs on the Weezing, as we saw. I guess we didn't confirm that, but it should be, right? So if I knock out, like Sludge Bomb was, I think it was just more consistent. I just got greedy and saw like the game like win right in front of me. So, I don't know. I still don't really necessarily hate the trade-off, since if we get the double knockout there, Snow gets set up. They have Garchomp and Typhlosion as their final two. Tailwind is set up, and I knew that they'd be choiced on the Typhlosion. So then we can just go for, like, Blizzard plus Ground Terra, Terra Blast to just knock out the Typhlosion, and there's not really much they can do to stop that. So, yeah, I think if we connect on the Muddy Water there, double connect, we should just win the game on the spot. But then there's merit to obviously clicking Sludge Bomb, because we can miss Muddy Water, and you are going to miss when you use this team. Okay, we have Trick Room here, Indeedee, Hatterene, Ursaluna, Torkoal, Gallade, Hisuian, Zoroark. Pretty classic hard Trick Room. I don't really love going up against hard Trick Room because it's just a lot of variance, I think, in terms of predictions. Avalugg is interesting because it can actually outpace a couple of their Pokemon under Trick Room, and it has Wide Guard, so we definitely bring that. The leads that we like mainly want to respect are Indeedee, Gallade, and Indeedee, Hatterene. And then like Hisuian Zoroark with Indeedee as well. Thinking of leading Avalugg here. Avalugg, Krookodile. Flamigo in the back. And what do I want as the last one? Tentacruel is actually interesting to soak up damage from Torkoal. Ninetales obviously changes the weather. But it can't protect, which scares me. I'm gonna go Tentacruel. I think like having weather control against Torkoal would obviously be important, but when we have Wide Guard on Avalugg anyway, it blocks a lot of Torkoal's main attacks. I guess the main value is if I have Ninetales, then if you're like the Eruption Weather Ball set, I change the weather and I have Wide Guards, and then Torkoal's actually pretty useless, but it is just gonna be Indeedee, Hatterene, okay? My guess is you just follow me here on turn 1 into Trick Room. No seed on this. That's interesting. Okay. I want to Icicle Spear Hatterene and knock off into it. Yeah, the upside of having this duo out on the field is that your expanding force is not as scary, and I do have wide guard for Dazzling Gleam. There's a world in which they just go for... Oh, it's going to be a Terra coming out. Okay. Terra Indeedee, maybe? Into Fairy. Water. Okay. To survive knockoff makes sense. Well, I was never going to cover for Hyper Beam on Turo, and I'll tell you that much. We actually don't want to knock them out right now, because then they're stuck on the field with Zoroark as they presumably set up Trick Room with Indeedee. So I'm hoping we get 4 hits. Nice, that's good. Oh, Hyper Beam. Very cool. Ah, Krookodile is so good into Indeedee here too. Go to Flamigo or Tentacruel. Zoroark can't do anything this turn. The goal is to pick up a double knockout next turn. I think we go out into Tentacruel first. And I'm hoping that it baits them into clicking Psychic into Tentacruel. So this slot can't do anything this turn. I could double protect this turn, which would stall out a turn of Trick Room while keeping the Sturdy. But I think I'd like to body press into Indeedee here and protect. Because the thing is now Avalugg outspeeds Indeedee under Trick Room. And they stay in with Indeedee, which is good. Okay. Dazzling Gleam. Oh, wow. Okay. Zoroark has to recharge here. I don't know if Terra Fighting Body Press gets the KO here. It's close. They could Psychic into Avalugg now. I could also Terra Tentacruel instead. Okay, I'm gonna Terra Fighting Body Press Muddy Water. I think maybe I just needed to Terra last turn, honestly. I was hoping Body Press would do a little bit more, and yeah, I think maybe it was greedy to hold on to the Terra. Although I guess if I had Terra, I would have taken more damage from Dazzling Gleam, but taking the damage is fine. Oh, they go for Follow Me. Perfect. Okay, nice. We get Terra Fighting Body Press. And it does survive with like 1 HP. But Muddy Water gets the double knockout. That's huge. Okay, nice. Yeah, I was thinking Indeedee there. Like, I'm curious if it even had Psychic. Normally you want to run Psychic, but it could be Follow Me, Trick Room, Helping Hand, Protect. Like, seeing Dazzling Gleam instead of Psychic makes me think they just didn't have Psychic. So let's see what they've got in the back. It is going to be Torkoal. Okay. Well, Wide Guard for us is incredible right now with Avalugg. And Flamigo in the back is also really good. They already Terra. 2 turns of Trick Room left right now. And I haven't revealed Wide Guard yet. We also want to be mindful of terrain, because once terrain ends, Expanding Force becomes single target. But both of these Pokemon are ones that want to use spread moves. So I think, honestly, this turn I can double protect. And then Wide Guard Sludge Bomb. Because normally you're going to run Expanding Force, Dazzling Gleam, Trick Room, Protect on Hatterene, maybe Mystical Fire. Ooh, okay, it's Earth Power. I mean, Earth Power is fine. And Mystical Fire. So they predict the Wide Guard. Very nicely done. wonder if this is Specs. If this is Specs, though, it can't touch Flamigo. But since Trick Room is ending, I think the play I want to make here is Wide Guard anyway and switch in Flamigo. Since they've revealed that they're willing to play around Wide Guard. Those are very smart. But because we have Focus Sash intact on Flamigo, like, even if they predict this, it's still fine, and I'm covering and stalling out Trick Room this way. And since I didn't go for it last turn, I'm hoping they think that they can just safely go for spread moves now. Yeah, exactly. Sick. Beautiful. Nice. Although I could have stayed in with Tentacruel and that may have just won us the game, but I didn't, like, I wanted a cover for them reading into me again. Okay, given that we saw Mystical Fire, I don't think this Hatterene's going to carry Protect. And if Hatterene doesn't carry Protect, it means I can safely double up onto it. So I'm going to Icicle Spear into you. 3 turns of Sunlight left. I might actually close combat here instead of Brave Birding. The main problem with Brave Bird is I take recoil damage, but it's not Specs Torkoal, so Earth Power actually shouldn't knock out Tentacruel anyway. So we should just guarantee the knockout on a Hatterene right now. Yeah. Beautiful. And yeah, I wasn't sure close combat would actually do enough damage to bring Hatterene into Icicle Spear KO range if we only got 4 hits from Icicle Spear. Cool. Even if they Eruption and get a double KO here, it's Tentacruel against Torkoal in the endgame, and they go for Flamethrower here. Beautiful. So Flamethrower, Earth Power, Eruption, Torkoal. No Heat Wave, I guess. We bring out Tentacruel. Awesome. Double checking the board state. 2 turns of Sunlight left. We just attacked. I can just Body Press now. Well, we should still try to stall out Sun, right? There's no downside to just protecting with both Pokemon here. Protect with both Pokemon. The only thing you can do is Earth Power Tentacruel, which I don't think even gets the knockout since you're not Choice Spexed. And then the next turn I can just go Sludge Bomb Body Press, which might not get the knockout, but it's fine because the Torkoal can't KO both of our Pokemon. You can see why I didn't want to bring Ninetales here, right? Being able to protect was really, really important in this game. And it's like, yes, they have the Sun up, but it's actually not too scary anyway, since Tentacruel walls Torkoal. So, Body Press into you now. Sludge Bomb. But yeah, I got completely caught off guard by Choice. I assume it's Choice Specs. Hisuian Zoroark, and with the Hyper Beam. Sludge Bomb there gets the poison onto Torkoal. And here's Fighting Terra Body Press now. Into Torkoal. Almost a KO. And I think we should survive Earth Power here. Yeah, it wasn't even close, actually. Cool. Sunlight fades, and they faint from poison here. Perfect. Wow, that was a really fun one. I feel like I got to feature so many fun strats on this team between the... I mean, Tentacruel was really, really important for us in this game. I'm really happy that I brought it out the turn that I did. And the reason I did was specifically because I knew I'd have the Muddy Water to get around Follow Me from the NDD. But Zoroark completely caught me off guard on turn 1. But one of the awkward things when you have Hisuian Zoroark on a Trick Room team, especially if you're going to commit Hyper Beam like that, is not being able to move on the second turn, right? And so by doing that, I was able to stall out a couple of turns of Trick Room early on in this game, making it tougher for my opponent to just sweep me under Trick Room. And once we saw the reveal of moves like Earth Power as well as Mystical Fire, I knew that with Wide Guard support from the Avalugg, I'd be able to stall out Trick Room. And then Tentacruel was actually a really good closer for us in this one, since it could take damage from the Torkoal, was protected from Expanding Force from the Hatterene. It walls the Dazzling Gleam as well as the Mystical Fire and pressures super effective damage onto the Hatterene as well as onto the Torkoal. In the end, we didn't actually use that super effective damage, but there was a reason why I wanted to switch out Tentacruel and try to conserve it all the way until the end. We've got Tyranitar, Excadrill, Salamence, Amoonguss, Corviknight, and Hisuian Typhlosion. Really interesting to see Typhlosion on that composition. T-Tar, Excadrill, Corviknight just won the Lille Regional Championships, where this team was brought. So, let's see. I'm really worried about the matchup at a Corviknight, honestly. We have to like aggressively double up into it, I think. Grass Tower Chaldon would be weak to Brave Bird. It's interesting because I could bring our Chaldon just to Electro Shot into Corv anyway. I'm leaning towards something like Flamigo Krookodile lead. Avalugg Ninetales in the back. Tentacruel is interesting in this one because it does hit Tyranitar, Excadrill, and Typhlosion for super effective damage, but I still don't love the matchup into Typhlosion. It's completely useless into Amoonguss in my opinion. Can't really touch Salamence either. I mean, I can Sludge Bomb, but it's just not that strong. So, let's see. I think the Sand part of their team is actually not very scary. It's Corviknight, and they are just going to lead Corviknight immediately. Okay. It's fine. Like, I think I'm actually going to just really aggressively target into Corviknight. Go for, like, close combat here and knock off into it. I was playing practice games with this team. Yeah, okay, and they protect Excadrill, awesome. And the reality is, it's just like Corviknight can bulk up, right? So we need to get as much damage onto it basically ASAP before bulk up happens. That actually has Covert Cloak. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah, so now even if you bulk up, I can just knock you out this next turn, which is huge. And they actually just Brave Bird. Okay, I wonder if they feint from recoil here. That would be incredible. Let's see. They survive with just a sliver, but that's still fine. Could switch into T-Tar now. I want to Tailwind and knock off. Okay, they don't switch. I could have gone high horsepower into Excadrill then. I'm really surprised they let me potentially just go for that. And we get Tailwind up, which is huge. Okay. No Terra or switch on Exca means I also could have just close combat in there. They just go for Rock Slide, which is fine by me. Cool. This is an interesting spot. I think I would prefer to go into the Avalugg right now instead of Ninetales. Because I want weather control. Because surely they have Tyranitar in the back, you would think, right? And they just bring T-Tar out right now. Okay. Works for me. I think I'm honestly happy to just body press here into T-Tar and high horsepower into Excadrill. Only one of these two can Terra right now. If we get a knockout, then I just win the Weather War completely, and then Ninetales comes out and just gets to spam Blizzard under Tailwind, which is awesome. It's going to be T-Tar going for Terra, okay. Terra flying T-Tar. So now you're weak to Ninetales Blizzard, right? Ideally, I lose Krookodile this turn and get a free switch in into the Ninetales, but they're going to protect the Exca here, okay? High horsepower into the protect. I'm wondering how fast T-Tar is. Do I outspeed it under Tailwind? Oh, I do. That's huge, because I can just Icicle Spear you now this next turn. Ice Punch comes out. Wow. Okay, no freeze, though, which is good. So yeah, I'm down to just Icicle Spear now into you. High horsepower into you. Okay, high horsepower connects. And that's just a one-hit KO. Beautiful. Yeah, that's why I was surprised that Excadrill wasn't protecting, wasn't Terraing, because it was like at so much risk. But by baiting out the Flying Terra, now Avalugg gets to launch Icicle Spear. One hit. Two hits. If we get 5, that's KO Tyranitar. 3. Even 4 with Sand might do it. Ah, so close. That's fine, though. They just go for Rock Slide here, and it's actually going to miss the Krookodile, which is quite lucky. But Krookodile fainting there would have just granted me a free switch into Ninetales, which I think also would have been perfectly fine. They have like 1 HP left, basically, after Sand. Typhlosion is the last one. With Frisk. If we had lost the Krookodile, I would have gotten the free switch into Ninetales, where then I could have just clicked Dark Pulse, which would have been pretty cool, into Typhlosion. Here. Tyranitar's always going to faint after this turn, right? I think it's fine to just go for Icicle Spear into T-Tar to make sure it doesn't get an attack off, and then knock off into Typhlosion. Okay, Typhlosion protects, that's fine. Yeah, this is why I wanted to make sure I actually targeted Tyranitar despite it fainting from Sand. So we know it's not choice on the Typhlosion. Icicle Spear knocks out the T-Tar. Cool. Now the question is, are you max speed Typhlosion? And do you have a single target attack? Because normally you want to run Eruption and Heat Wave. Shadow Ball Protect. So what I can do to cover for max speed Typhlosion is to just go for Wide Guard here. And knock off. Okay. So you'd have to be Shadow Balling or Flamethrowing into Krookodile and max speed to win this, but they go for Eruption. Beautiful. Yeah, I think like the limitation of Pokemon like Typhlosion is that it relies on spread moves so much. Yeah. Knockoff here is just going to deliver the finishing blow into Typhlosion. So I think everything worked out so well for us in this game. Corviknight, I think, is a really scary Pokemon for this team to deal with. I actually, when I was practicing with this team, went up against Nils Dunlop's Lille Regional team. Nils won with a really cool, I would call it anti-meta team, with T-Tar Exca, Corviknight, coaching White Herb Sneasler, as well as Magmar. And I just couldn't deal with Corviknight. Like, they led Sneasler Corviknight, and I led Flamigo Krookodile. In turn 1, they protected the Sneasler, and I went for, like, Tailwind High Horsepower into Sneasler, and Corviknight got a Bulk Up off, and then, like, I just couldn't do anything afterwards. So that's why it's really important to just get a lot of damage onto Corviknight immediately, because if it gets a Bulk Up setup and you don't do damage to it, you're just going to fall behind way too much. And so that was the lesson that I learned from playing against Corviknight previously. But, yeah. Avalugg here was awesome because it like forced the Terra to Tyranitar, then we were able to take advantage of that Terra. And because we had Wide Guard here, I think even if the Rock Slide connected on the even if the Rock Slide had connected onto the Krookodile, like it would have just given me a free switch into the Ninetales, and we would have Wide Guard support to basically protect from the Typhlosion, right? So I would have been able to go for something like Protect. I think the main interesting thing would be, like, do I Wide Guard or do I just go for, like, Dark Pulse into the Typhlosion, right? And then Icicle Spear to finish off the Tyranitar. But, yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. So a huge thank you and shout outs to Luigi once again for building such a fun team. I think we really got to showcase a lot of the unique elements of this team and highlight how these Pokemon can work in a format where no one else really is using them. So awesome job by Luigi. I can't other teams he builds in the future. Definitely will be rooting for him. And thanks to you all as always for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, would really appreciate if you consider leaving a like or subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you all next time. All right, peace.